What you're about to see isn't just rare photos. Each shot has a mind-blowing story that few people know about. Take this photo, for example.
Paris streets in 1875 had these pissoirs for fellas needing a quick stop. This one, made of cast iron, popped up after the city started cleaning up its sanitation mess. They were torn down later when indoor plumbing became the norm by the early 1900s. Tanya Roberts is geared up as Kiri for The Beastmaster in '82, shot out in the California desert. The film's budget was tight, so they used real animals instead of fancy effects. This guy's perched up during the pole sitting championships in the Netherlands, August '71. Some competitors sat for over 90 hours straight, dealing with wind and rain. The winner snagged a small cash prize and a whole lot of bragging rights. At Twycross Zoo in the UK around the 70s, this chimp's bottle feeding a leopard cub. Zookeepers paired them up because the cub's mom couldn't care for it. Alec Guinness and Omar Sharif are taking a breather on the Lawrence of Arabia set in '62, out in the Jordan Desert. The heat hit 120 degrees some days, and they still had to wear heavy costumes. Sharif nearly passed out from dehydration during one long shoot. Lydia Smirnova's posing for a portrait in '50, shot by Viktor Ruikovich in a Moscow studio. She just starred in A Cossack Went Across the Danube, a big hit back then. Most of her pay went straight to taxes under Stalin's tight grip. Richard Peter Sr. shot this from Dresden's Town Hall Tower right after the February '45 Allied bombing. The firestorm burned so hot it melted steel, wiping out entire neighborhoods. Over 1,600 acres of the city center turned to rubble in just 2 days. John Dominus snapped this at the Supergiant in Rockville, Maryland, back in '64 for Life magazine. Shoppers are loading up on stuff like TV dinners, new on the shelves then. Cashiers punched every price by hand since scanners weren't a thing yet. In the late '80s, Soviet stores like this one often had bare shelves, even for basics like meat. People would line up for hours if they heard a shipment might come in. By '91, some cities were down to ration cards for bread and sugar. Marilyn Monroe's singing for U.S. troops in Korea, February '54, on a 4-day USO tour. She performed in below freezing weather, wearing just a thin dress to keep the boys' spirits up. Over 60,000 soldiers showed up across her 10 shows. This counter-protest in NYC, late '60s, got heated over the Vietnam War. That sign, calling draft card burners America's dung, shows how some folks backed the war hard. Clashes like this happened a lot as protests grew bigger each year. The Mercury Streamliner, shot here in Chicago in '36, was New York Central's pride. Henry Dreyfuss gave it that sleek look to pull in more passengers. It could hit 80 miles an hour, fast for a train back then. Dolly Parton's in a Nashville studio around '66, cutting her first tracks. She'd just moved from Tennessee's backwoods, barely 20, chasing a country music dream. Her single Dumb Blonde came out the next year and started getting airplay. These gals are putting together a B-17 at Douglas Aircraft in Long Beach during 1-2. They're part of the Rosie the Riveter crew, stepping up when the men got called away. That plane took over 12,000 hours of work to finish up. Howard Carter's team snapped this in Tutankhamun's tomb antechamber right after opening it in '22. You've got chests, chariot parts, and a cow-shaped couch all crammed in there. Everything sat untouched for over 3,000 years before they got to it. These guys are washing windows on the Empire State Building back in the '30s. They're up hundreds of feet, working on narrow ledges with just basic ropes. It took a full crew about a week to clean the whole building. Frank Sinatra's stepping out of a chopper in the '60s, holding a drink and looking sharp. He used helicopters to get around quick during his busy touring days. That suit and hat were his signature style back then. Bob Feller's winding up for a pitch with the Cleveland Indians in the late '30s or '40s. His fastball was clocked at over 100 miles an hour, a big deal back then. He took a break from baseball to serve in the Navy during '82. A photographer's setting up in Warsaw, November '46, with a painted backdrop to hide the city's ruins. Folks would sit for portraits to feel a bit of normalcy after the war. That camera he's using needed a full minute to capture one shot. Marilyn Monroe's chilling in a pool around 60, sipping a drink and smiling. This shot's a rare break from her usual Hollywood spotlight moments. That swimsuit was a bold pattern for the time. Marceline Bertrand's posing here in the late '70s, rocking a velvet jacket. She stepped back from acting after splitting with Jon Voight around that time. Her focus shifted to raising her 2 little ones, including Angelina Jolie. Lydia Litviak, a Soviet pilot, is seen in these colorized Wau-era shots. They called her the White Lily of Stalingrad for her flying skills. She logged over 150 missions before before going missing in 43. The Motormat Drive-In in LA, around 48, had rails to slide food trays right to your car. Those little awnings kept the sun off your meal while you ate. It was a hit with folks who loved grabbing a quick bite on the go. This is the Great Hall of Hitler's Berghof in the Bavarian Alps, shot in 49 after it got wrecked. The big window used to frame views of the mountains before the place fell apart. Visitors came to see what was left of the retreat after the war. Stan Laurel and Oliver Hardy are kicking back on a film set around 32. They're likely shooting their short Toad in a Hole, going by those overalls and hats. They're sipping tea, taking a breather between takes. Marilyn Monroe's posing on Santa Monica Beach in July 62 for George Barris. This was her last professional photo shoot, just a few weeks before she passed. That chunky sweater kept her warm on the chilly beach day. This Pretty Legs contest in Paris around 50 has a judge checking out numbered contestants. The gals are behind a curtain, showing just their legs for the judging. These kinds of quirky competitions were a fun pastime back then. Reese Witherspoon's standing on a balcony in 91, just starting out as an actress. That year, she landed her first big role in The Man in the Moon. The red top and blazer were a bold look for her early days. Inger Nielsen's waving to folks in Amsterdam, April 72, during a promo tour. She's famous for playing Pippi Longstocking in the late 60s TV series. That outfit with the pigtails kept her in character for the fans. Bruce Lee's workout sheet from May 27th, 65, shows his routine at Hock Kyung Gymnasium. He's doing stuff like squats with 75 pounds and French presses with 64. That kind of strict plan helped him build his famous strength. Folks are playing chess on NYC sidewalks in 86 right on a busy street. You'd see tables like this in parks and corners all over the city back then. Players used timers to keep the matches quick and lively. Benito Mussolini's getting hauled off by cops during a protest in 15. He was pushing for Italy to join World War I, splitting with his old socialist buddies. This happened way before he became Italy's leader in the 20s. This gal's roller skating on a California beach path in the 70s, soaking up the sun. Those floral shorts and skates were all the rage back then. Coastal spots like this were packed with skaters on weekends. Howard Carter's looking over Tutankhamun's mummy in the 20s, inside the Valley of the King's Tomb. This colorized shot shows the tight space he worked in to study the remains. The find brought out artifacts that hadn't been touched in over 3,000 years. Sharon Tate's posing here, likely late 60s, showing off her natural look. She was getting noticed for roles like in Valley of the Dolls around that time. She was married to Roman Polanski when she passed in 69. Dolly Parton's with her husband Carl Thomas Dean, probably soon after they met in 64. They tied the knot in 66 and kept things private ever since. That pleated dress and his suit were classic for the time. Johnny Unitas, quarterback for the Baltimore Colts, is calling for quiet in the 58 NFL championship game. They're playing the New York Giants at Yankee Stadium on a packed day. The game went to overtime, and the Colts pulled off the win. This aerial shot from June 8, 80 shows the mess left by Mount St. Helens eruption in Washington. The May 18th blast knocked down trees for miles around the volcano. Ash and debris covered the whole area, changing the landscape big time. This Burger King in NYC, shot in 74, has that classic orange and yellow look from back then. Yellow taxis like the one parked out front were all over the city streets. The sign out front was pushing their new breakfast menu at the time. Marilyn Monroe's pumping iron with dumbbells in this 52 shot. She was big into fitness to keep her figure during her rising film career. Jane Mansfield striking a pose for a promo shoot, probably mid-50s. She's got point shoes on, giving a nod to ballet for the camera. That outfit and setup were part of her glamorous Hollywood vibe back then. An Apollo 17 astronaut's getting suited up for the 72 mission. They stuck a rough Velcro patch inside the helmet near the nose for scratching itches. That suit took a team hours to put on before launch. The head of the Statue of Liberty is on display in a Paris park around 83. Sculptor Frederick Auguste Bartholdi showed off parts like this to raise money for the project. It got shipped to New York in pieces a couple years later. These fellas are sharing a barrel of drinks right before Prohibition hit in January 20. The barrel's got "Roll Out the Barrel" written on it, a nod to the last legal round. They're outside a warehouse, likely toasting the end of an era. These gals are chatting on a street in Damascus, Syria, rocking 70s fashion. Bell-bottom pants and bright tops were the big style everywhere back then. You can see the city's busy vibe with cars and folks in the background. Salvador Dali's working on The Face of War around 41 in his studio. He started the piece while living in the US during the early 1-2 years. His surreal style used wild imagery to tackle the era's heavy themes. Alfred Eisenstadt caught this goodbye kiss at Penn Station in NYC 43. The soldier, a paratrooper trooper is likely heading off for WOTU duty. The station was packed with folks seeing off loved ones back then. Kiki Hawkinson from Sweden, center in the gown, just won the first Miss World in London, 51. The event started as the festival bikini contest, with most gals in swimsuits. Her win stirred some talk because of the bikini focus at the time. This couple's cruising on an autoped, an early motorized scooter, sometime between 16 and 22. These scooters hit the market around 1915, made in the US and Germany. They were a new way to get around quick back in the day. Folks in the NYC subway in 53 are riding without their usual papers due to a big newspaper strike. Normally, you'd see half the car reading during the commute. It shows how much people relied on papers for their daily news back then. Relna Brewers showing off her strength on a beach in 38, tearing a phone book in half. She was a big advocate for women's fitness and training in an era when it wasn't common. That swimsuit style was typical for the late 30s. Sophia Loren's shining at the Venice Film Festival in 55, waving to the crowd. She's decked out in a sparkly gown with long gloves, pure Hollywood glamour. These festivals were the place to be for movie stars back then. Madeline Smith's posing with a bike in this 71 shot, showing off her casual look. She was in a bunch of British comedies and TV shows around that time. She later played a Bond girl in Live and Let Die in 73.